Hey everybody. Welcome back. Grab your coffee. Settle in. Because today I've got 4 little slices of neighborhood chaos that still make me shake my head years later. And honestly, the first one. It started the day Margaret decided my recycling bin was a personal insult to the entire cul-de-sac. I live in a quiet chunk of desert suburbia, just outside Tucson. Think red tile roofs, saguaro silhouettes at sunset, and an HOA president named Margaret who wore pastel visors like a crown and carried violation stickers the way other people carry car keys. For 3 solid years, she ruled Sunridge Estates with the kind of iron fist usually reserved for small dictatorships, fining a single dad $50 because his kid's plastic tricycle sat on the driveway 5 minutes past pickup. Sending certified letters over a flamingo lawn ornament that was, quote, an assault on property values. Even trying to make Mrs. Alvarez repaint her front door because the shade of terracotta was apparently too spirited. We all grumbled over fences and group texts. But nobody pushed back until Margaret used a dusty paragraph in the bylaws to boot gentle old Tom off the board for daring to ask why the holiday light budget tripled while the pool stayed green. She taught us the trick. And man, did we take notes. It boiled over last spring when the monsoons hit and Margaret started slapping $100 citations on anyone whose grass dared turn brown. Single moms, retirees on fixed incomes. Didn't matter. That's when a handful of us, me, Jenna the nurse with the messy bun, and Luis, who coaches Little League, started passing around a removal petition like it was contraband. People signed in driveways, on lunch breaks, even in the dog park. Once folks realized we weren't just venting, we were moving. The list filled up fast. Bylaws said the board had 30 days to call a vote. Day 10. Crickets. Day 20. Still nothing. Day 30. Margaret and her husband Carl, picture a retired mall cop with a clipboard and a permanent squint, started knocking on doors, demanding to know who'd signed, telling Jenna she'd been misled by troublemakers. On the community Facebook page, Margaret posted cryptic warnings about dishonest actors sowing division, then banned anyone who asked questions. Retaliation came quick. Jenna's hanging baskets suddenly obstructed the sidewalk. Luis got dinged for a mailbox that was identical to Margaret's own. We saw the game. She had 0 plans to let us vote. But the same bylaws she loved quoting had a back door. If the board ignored a valid petition for 30 days, residents could run the election ourselves. So we did pooled cash for a certified mediator named Rosa, rented the clubhouse, mailed ballots to every address, followed every comma in the rules. Margaret boycotted the meeting, sent Carl to stand outside with his phone filming evidence of fraud. Rosa counted in front of 60 witnesses, 76% to remove. We popped cheap Prosecco in the parking lot like we'd won the Super Bowl. Next morning, Margaret flooded the Facebook group. Illegitimate process. I was denied due process. Someone commented, you were invited. You ghosted. And poof, comment deleted. User banned. Group locked. Then the management company, the one Margaret bragged was her strategic partner, announced they wouldn't recognize our vote because of procedural defects. 3 board members quit in disgust inside a week, leaving Margaret the lone queen on a sinking ship, still giving orders the company happily obeyed. That's when we lawyered up. Our attorney, a chill guy named Diego who grew up in the barrio and hates bullies, read every email, every sticker, every snarky post, then grinned like he'd hit the lottery. Margaret had breached fiduciary duty 6 ways to Sunday. And the management company had violated Arizona statute by taking personal direction from one board member instead of the board itself. Diego fired off a cease and desist that read like a mic drop. And when they blew past the deadline, he filed with the Department of Real Estate. Investigator showed up in a state polo shirt, asked quiet questions, left with a fat stack of documents. 2 weeks later, the management company ghosted Margaret, citing conflict of interest. The new board, fresh blood. No baggage, ratified our original vote in an emergency session. Margaret stormed in late. Visor asked you, yelling about lawsuits and fake residents before slamming the door so hard the frame cracked. Haven't seen her since. The Facebook group's unlocked. Fines are gone. And last week somebody put a plastic flamingo on Margaret's old porch in memoriam. Nothing unites a block like taking down a tiny tyrant with her own rulebook. Okay. Shift gears, picture fluorescent lights humming like angry bees. The smell of toner and despair thick enough to chew. Back in college, I worked weekends at a big box office supply store in Mesa. The kind where back to school feels like a war zone. Inventory nights were the worst. We'd roam aisles with handheld scanners, praying the physical shelves matched the computer's fever dream. Spoiler, they never did. Systems swore we had 40 ancient printers gathering dust in 1998. Reality had 3. Manager Gary treated the database like the Bible and us like heretics. If the scanner doesn't match, you're not looking hard enough. And nobody clocks out till it does. One February night, I'm in electronics. Scanner says 35 flat panel monitors. I count 4. Gary barks. Keep scanning till it says 35. So we did scan those same 4 monitors 8, 9 times each until the handheld chirped happy. Next aisle over. My buddy Marco starts feeding extra keyboards into the compactor because the system insists we're short. We called it creative accounting, Gary called it flawless execution, and bragged to corporate about his tight ship. Years roll by. I graduate. Get a real job. Forget the smell of burnt coffee until I bump into Marco at a coffee shop, and he drops the punchline. Corporate finally sent real auditors with clipboards and 0 sense of humor. They found aisles of phantom stock, thousands of chairs. Printers. Desks that existed only in Gary's reports. Since he'd personally signed every inventory sheet. Guess who got walked out? Gary. Red-faced. Mumbling about glitches while security held the door. The system never lied, it just showed exactly the fantasy he demanded. One fake beep at a time. Now for something smaller, but twice as ridiculous. My cat Pickles, orange tabby. Zero ambition, lives for 2 things, food and sunbeams. Every morning she flops in the same patch of grass like she's auditioning for a Renaissance painting. Enter my neighbor Diane, whose golden retriever Baxter barks at shadows. Wind. And apparently the concept of cats existing. Diane knocks one Tuesday. Face pinched like she swallowed a cactus. Your cat is upsetting Baxter, he can see her from the window. I laugh before my brain catches up, bad move. Diane does not laugh. I'm serious. He's sensitive. I offer to explain property lines to a creature who thinks no means try harder. But Diane's already pivoting away. Next day I'm pouring coffee and spot her on a ladder. Installing blackout curtains on the outside window facing my yard so Baxter can't witness Pickles living her best life. Curtains cost $60. Installation took an hour. And Baxter still yaps at squirrels. Pickles. Stretched luxuriously. Tail flicking. Completely unbothered. Diane built a fortress against serenity. Pickles didn't even notice the war. Last one hits close to the wallet and the funny bone. I used to bartend lunch shifts at a chain restaurant attached to the mall. Think endless chicken tenders and corporate playlists. Every Friday this woman, let's call her Karen with a K, slid into the same booth. Ordered the cheapest salad. Paid exact change. Tipped exactly nothing. And complained loud enough for free dessert. After 6 months I could set my watch by her scowl. Fast forward to December. I'm mall shopping for my girlfriend. Find a silky blouse on sale. And the cashier at 20. Guess who's behind the register? Karen with a K. Name tag reading shift lead. She inspects my bill like it's evidence in a heist. Marks it with the counterfeit pen. Then oops hands me $83 change instead of 3. I blink. Step aside. Conscience and devil arguing on my shoulders. I circle back. Hey. I think you gave me too much. She snaps. Move along. Sir. Next customer. Without even looking up. So I pocket the cash. Buy my girlfriend the blouse and dinner. And sleep like a baby. Call it retroactive tips or instant karma in crisp 20s. For stories. One takeaway. People who weaponize petty rules usually hand you the exact tools to dismantle them, whether it's bylaws, scanners, curtains, or cash registers. Margaret's still somewhere plotting her comeback. Gary's probably managing a parking lot. Diane's dog still barks at air. And Karen with a K learned that karma keeps exact change too. So hit me in the comments, ever taken down a neighborhood tyrant with their own red tape? Ever given a manager the perfection they begged for? Would you have returned that $83 or called it tip karma? Drop your war stories. Smash like if you're Team Pickles. Subscribe with the bell so you don't miss the next round of chaos, and I'll catch you in the next one.